Good morning, Jim Hodges here, Bo here. Bo is about 17 months old. He's a BerneDoodle that came in for our residency training program. Very sweet guy, very affectionate, loves to jump on people. Is a little bit anxious, we've seen, and it was first identified to me when he came in and Mom was introducing him to us. His front leg or legs would shake a little bit. It's just something that he has apparently. We've seen it occasionally while he's been here. The best thing that you can do with something like that is just ignore it. The more attention you apply to it, the more conditioned that behavior may be, okay? I tell people, anybody that'll listen, it's just like when our children get hurt when they're little and not seriously. Whenever something happens to them that can create an emotion out of us, it's very important not to show that empathy or sympathy to our dog. And the reason I say that too is because that sympathy and empathy can get misplaced. And it actually may teach a dog to, because we're loving and caring and doodling all over it, that this is a behavior that I may want to repeat. So it's always important whenever they do something, you know nothing's significant, just tell them to get over themselves, they're gonna be okay, let's go, good puppy. And when we start moving along again. That's in work or in play. So big thing is we've got obedience on it, on him. We have addressed the jumping. As I tell everyone, you know, when you start working with your dog, you have to encounter different environments and scenarios to proof your dog. Because only one set situation and you teach your dog to sit, when you encounter another one, which may be in another room, outside, or with people, he may forget it. That's the whole purpose of practice and training. 5-10 minutes at a time, 15 minutes, 20 if he's into it and you're into it. But we always want it to be upbeat and positive, and we always finish on a good note, but we try to encounter different situations. So we're gonna get started, aren't we, buddy? Good boy. See, he's a happy, friendly guy. Sometimes he likes treats, sometimes he doesn't. We're gonna find out right now. The big thing is motivation is praise and consequence. Praise is a combination of words, touch, treat, toy, positive emotion. For a dog that may not like treats, we wanna make sure that we tell him, good boy, and be real positive with the actions in that moment of time. Of course, consequence on this stage is or no and a tap of the leash. The tap is designed not to intimidate, dominate, break a spirit, hurt him, or have him fear you. It's instructional. We're trying to let him know in that moment of time through touch, which I think that is the primary sense that dogs communicate through, that he's doing something we don't like. When we do that with a consequence and he fixes it, we're going to come back and give him a modified praise. Not as good as if he did it right the first time, but let him know he's in that moment that we want. So we're going to work things. If he makes a mistake, he's going to make a mistake. If I make a mistake, I'm going to make a mistake. And we will address that hopefully then, and we'll make sure that it works. Isn't that right, buddy? You ready? So the very first thing is let's go. Let's go is a loose leash. Everything is short and loose. Not here, because it allows our dogs to get out of the positions that we want, and we're slower reacting time than if we're here, okay? Short, loose leash. Gradually, as our dogs learn, we can extend that. And hopefully, if you work hard enough, you can even get to the point that you can be off leash, although I never take my dogs off leash except maybe hiking or something, and even then I have a leash with them. All right, Bo, you ready? Let's go. Hear that tone of voice? He's right here. His job is to walk with me, okay? If he gets out in front of me or gets out to the side, I'm gonna tap that leash, good boy, right back to my side. And when I do, I'm gonna say, no, let's go, good boy. That was a sample of if I have to bite him, I'm still gonna come back and praise on the end of it. One of the things Bo will do, especially when he gets excited about seeing someone or do something, he'll start to go out in front. Well, as the leader, you have to be aware of it. Real quick, if something happens once with your dog, if your dog does something once, he's going to do it over and over again. If you like it, put a word to it. You have a new command. If you don't like it, it's something that needs a consequence. You need to be ready the next time that unfolds that you catch it before he actually makes the error, okay? So if he started, when he's excited, he starts to go out, I'm just going to tap the leash right back to me and tell him no. It's a very light consequence. we always start with very instructional taps, and we gradually, incrementally may increase that. But it really depends on our dog. If we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and it doesn't change his behavior, then we just got to get a little bit stronger. Once we get a little bit stronger, we don't go back down for 30 days. And we progress that way, okay? Let's go. So he was real good. You notice when I stopped, he just stood there. I don't care if he sits or stands or what have you on the let's go. The one thing I do not want him to do on a leash anymore is pull us on the leash, okay? If he started to go out and pull, we would bite him right back, okay? If he was to smell the ground while we're working, I would bite him and tell him no and repeat whatever command it was. If he tried to pick up a rock, I would actually bite him and tell him no. That is not something we're going to allow to happen. Let's go. Good. I'll change directions. Keep moving. Sit. Good. Hand signal for sit. Good boy. And he knows he's done good there. I ask him to sit. He has to hold that sit until I release him, okay? In the beginning, we'll have him sit here, then we gradually start moving out. And when we move out and I tell him good boy, I didn't tell him good boy for sitting, I told him good boy for holding that sit then. I'm going to get a treat out. I'm not going to give it to him right now, but I'm just going to hold it in my hand for the next command. So if he didn't sit or guide up from the sit, it would be no, sit, and good boy. Okay, let's go. So we're going to do that again, just to give you an idea. This one from the side. Sit. Atta boy. Good boy. Step out. He holds it. Now the next thing is break. Good boy. I'm going to give him a treat. Break. See how I did that? I had my hands here. I had a treat here. Break is the release command for our dog. And when we break them, we're trying to teach him or symbolize that we're the center of the universe. So I step back, get him encouraged about coming, and I have a treat. Don't have a treat all the time, but I have a treat. Give him the treat, pat him, and love him. And it's teaching him whatever's going on in life, I can trust my leader, my owner. Also, what it does is it allows to set the stage for the on-leash and off-leash come command later. And we're going to go over that in just a second. So hand signal sit, he sits, he holds that sit until we release him. We can go into any other command we want. We don't have to just break. We could do come, we could do down, we could do whatever. For example, sit, down. I did it late for you. I just want to see, he knows the hand signal. See how he's watching? Good boy. Now occasionally he wants to pop up out of this when I bend over. If he does it once, he's going to do it again and again. What are you going to do? When you go to bend over, you're going to tap, no, down. And he has to hold that until we release him, or let's go. We're going to go right back and do another command. So in front, this was the DOWN. So beside us, good boy, good boy. That's down again. Doesn't matter if you use the hand signals, but what I will do, I was just watching him, that a little bit's okay. If he continued to do it, I would bite it. But it's here, if he didn't do it, either one, I would, here's his head, no, down, okay? Or we walked up to him, no, down. So that is the bite for him when he breaks the command or doesn't do it to begin with, okay? Same rules apply with incremental consequence. Sit. Good boy. Why did I ask him to sit then? Sit is probably one of the hardest commands for a dog to do out of a down. Because in that down, they are the most submissive. This guy was a bear for down to begin with, and had to work on it. Had to work on it over and over and over. Once I got him to the point that he would down, I immediately started giving him the sit command because he was ready to do what? Pop up anyway. Good boy. Good boy. Break. Now, if I wanted to, on that DOWN, I could put my hand in front of him and tell him to S-T-A-Y, to stay. So when normally I ask my dogs to sit or down or place, there is no stay. But if I tell them stay, that means pack your bags, you're going to be there for a while, okay? Once I do that in the down and put him in a stay, he can chew on something, he can roll over on the side and go to sleep, he can smell around him to his heart's content. He doesn't have to focus on us. Stay is, I'm turning you off for a minute to have to listen to me, but I want you right there. He can do 15, 20 minutes. We'll walk over him, around him. And when we do those, and my dogs can walk around him, When we do that, we're selling him on the idea that when we tell him to down, he has to down. He has to hold it. Once we get that down stay, and I recommend all of my owners do down stay in the beginning, whether they do it later in life, that's up to them. I practice it with my dogs still to this day. There are times where I need them in a down stay, but that's up to you. In the beginning, it's helping to cement your role as the leader, because you're making him submit or asking him to submit, and he's got to follow through. The other thing, once I do that, we can have a door in a room, and we start to walk out that door, and it's always good to let him have a leash on to begin with. He's not going to have a leash on forever, but you got to be able to react. I would walk out that door, and I would say, stay. And when I told him stay, they said, okay, I can't cross that line there, but I can do whatever, all right? And you're in another room, you can be in the kitchen, a study or what have you. You tell him to stay and walk off. If he came through, we would pick up the leash, we wouldn't get mad. No, 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 stay. And then we'd immediately, well, just like this, and although this is a little hard for him to see, come on, no, 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 stay. A little bit hard here. This isn't a room with evident doorway, but that's how we would do it, okay? So stay is a wonderful thing to keep him in an area when you guys do something else in the house and you need to be able to keep an eye on your dog. Break, let's go. So sitting down. I tell you what, come on man, I'm gonna load up a treat, let's go. Okay, hey, place. Hand signal for place. Attaboy, I'll give him a treat. I don't mind, you give treats as much as you want. At the end of the day, your dog obeys you because you asked him to. So I wouldn't use treats all the time, but if you're a treat giver, just make sure he does it right the first time to get that treat after he's been trained. Sometimes I'll give a treat in the middle of training because our dog's trying hard and just don't quite understand it. So now we have him to place. He can lay down, sit down, stand up. I don't care what he does as long as he stays on the bed. He can have an elk antler or a yak snack from Jim Hodges Dog Training. I don't care what he does, okay? He just needs to chill. This is a wonderful way for him to relax and be out without having to be in a crate or having to be sort of supervised. And you can have your life, watching TV, reading, working in your home office, whatever the case may be. He's content, you're content. If he got off the bed, just like we did with that stay, break. Say he got off, I would go pick up the leash and go, no, 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 place again, and then good boy. So he has to stay there, I don't care who's there. Just remember what I said in the beginning about environment scenario changes. First time you have him in a place and somebody comes to the door, he's gone. You're gonna have to take the time and work him. So I tell people, don't wait to react. Go ahead and practice these things. Someone else coming in so he can start to learn instead of somebody coming up that you don't know who and you've got to deal with Bo or your dog. Let's go. Good. Sit. Good. Down. Good boy. Break. Right here, I stepped away. That same step is really good for the come command, on leash and off leash. In the beginning, I used that step back just like I did with the break command to teach him to come to me. Now, when I ask him to come to me, if he doesn't come to, I'm going to tell him come, on leash. If he doesn't come, I'm going to tap the leash back here. I'm still going to keep my hands right here, and then I'm going to ask him to sit. I didn't give him the command there, so he did nothing wrong, okay? So I'll ask him to come, he comes, hands here, just like with the break, and then he's supposed to sit. If he doesn't come to me, I'm going to tap the leash towards me. If he doesn't sit at the end of it, I'm going to tap the leash up. This is what I do on leash, okay? I don't mind consequencing my dog on leash for the come command, okay? Off leash, I'm not going to consequence my dog unless I go out and get him. We'll talk about that just in a second. So I'm going to get him a treat out, okay? And watch what I'll do. Come. He comes, see how he sits? Attaboy. I'm paying him off. He's still in that sit command. If he was to get up, I'd bite him, no sit. Okay, but he came, good boy, break. We did it. Notice how I step back. That's the same thing most of you should be doing in the beginning, all right? Sit, but now what? Come. See, I don't have to step back anymore. Good boy, break. But we want him to come and sit and hold the sit. And we want to be as positive as we can with that, okay? Then later, we're going to start to transcend into off-leash. How do we do that? With a little freer line or a long line, or him being in the house, okay? And how would that happen? Is we would have a treat or a toy for him, and we would do this. Hey, Bo, look what I got. Come. Okay, and if he was off leash, good boy, break. If he was off leash, I don't care if he sits or not. That's your choice. My dogs do sit off leash when they come to me, but the big thing to take from that is I showed him the toy, I showed him the treat, I called his name, Bo, and I only said come when he started coming to me, okay? He made the decision, Dad, Mom, whoever it is, got what I want to go see him. And when he comes and commits to it, he's in a happy frame of mind, I tell him to come, and all I'm doing is marrying that word, that command with his happy state, okay? So that's how we start to do that. We do it loose line, we do it in the house, but the one thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't say, hey, Bo, and if he doesn't start committing to come to you, you just walk away, all right? You only say that word, C-O-M-E, when he commits to come to you. And realize, I hate to say it, you're looking 200, 300, 400 times to do this. My dogs will come to me from anywhere and everywhere, okay? They want to, they come to me, I'll pet them and love them. I'm never gonna put them on a leash and put them up. I'm never gonna do something once they come to make them have less trust in me, all right? It's always gonna be positive. If he did come to me, once he came to me, I would tell him, good boy, break. And he would be running around in the yard or whatever, off leash. And then if I needed to do something, I'd wait about 2 or 3 minutes. Then I would say, oh my gosh, Bo, look at the time. And then I would hook him up on the leash and carry him in. But I don't want it to be bam, bam. I come to you, you're gonna put me up. Bam, bam, I come to you, you're gonna provide me a consequence. That's the best way to get your dog not to come to you. And again, hundreds of times you need to do that with that come command, okay? And you'll get there. And you're building a relationship with your dog. If you always provide that motivation in the proper light, proper form, and reward your dog. Remember, our job is to praise at least 20 times more during the day than we bite or provide a consequence. Consequence is part of dog communication, touch is, and we have to do it, but we have to do it to teach. In the beginning, you're black and white. Later, you can move to shades of gray in life because you guys know each other and where you're going. If the wheels start falling off, that's typically because you've allowed something to happen. All you have to do is tighten it back up again, okay? Let's go. All right, so down to just a couple of more is the heel command. The heel command is an imaginary rectangular box beside me, okay? When we start walking in a tight environment, his job is to stay in the box and my job is to keep him in the box. So if I turn like this all of a sudden and he was in heel, there's no way he could be here because he couldn't anticipate what I was doing unless it was a rehearsed move. So what we would do is we always give our chance a dog to react. And I believe when we make turns or square outs, you'll see that in a second, we always give our dog a chance to get back to our side before we stop. Because in the heel, when we stop, he's supposed to sit. And he's supposed to sit in this box. And if we have him out of the box, the odds are it's something we've done. So here's the hand signal. You ready, buddy? Heel. So in the beginning, I'll do a lot of straights. Stop, good boy. I can step off. He holds that sit because he's supposed to sit at the end. Now, if he didn't sit or popped up, I would have gone, no sit. Okay, if he didn't stay in my side and tried to move off, it would be no heel. Not the no let's go, but no heel. Heel, watch me turn. Attaboy. I step off, see how he's trying to come back into the box? He's back in the box, he stops and sits. Good boy. Heel. Same with the turn. See, we're turning, but I'm going to straighten back out for him so he can get back in the box. That's a good boy. I'm so proud of you, okay? That's what we do. The last thing we got here is the load up command. Load up is good if you want to teach your dog to get on furniture, to get on an object, to load up in the car, okay? So we come in, okay, buddy, load up. Oh, good boy. Good boy. I rewarded him for that. Great. Some point in time, I wouldn't have to reward him. Maybe once in a blue moon, maybe not at all. It all depends on what we want to do. When I don't give a treat, I give the other forms of the praise motivation. Words, touch, positive emotion, or even the toy, okay? So that's basically where we are. Those are the blueprints to what I do to become the leader, to get our dog so we can go anywhere in the world that we want to go with it, even on airplanes. I've got clients' dogs that fly with them. Don't know about these days. Things have gotten a little bit tighter with all the things that have been going on in the world. But you want to be able to take your dog anywhere. Just remember, when you take him that new place, that's a new environment scenario, you've got to show him you're in control and the things he's got to do. You know, if you need me, you pick up the phone and give me a call, 336-945-3232. I thank you guys so much. JimHodgesDogTraining.com, Jim Hodges Dog Training on YouTube. I really am thankful. Dogs are a blessing to my life, and I owe it all to him. And I wish everyone well. God bless you. Take care.